for coming back to join us on Horse Talk Live. Today we're here with Trey Hallmark of Superior Texas Landman, a full-service farm and ranch brokerage company. We've gotten to see lots of great properties that y'all have to offer, and talking about what goes into both selling and buying a property like this. So we talked a little bit about the prep that goes into it. If you were wanting to sell a property, you got to make sure that it looks the best it can.
Absolutely. You know, that's very, very important. It's like if you're buying a house or a car or whatever you're buying, you know, that first impression is king, you know.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we'll do is, like I said, we'll meet with the landowners. You know, we'll spend some time on the ranch. We'll go through the house, through the barns, through everything, and kind of give them a checklist on what needs to be done. And that can be hugely important, you know. And then sometimes if we'll find a place that, you know, it's not abnormal for us to ask somebody to spend $50,000 or $60,000, you know, to get a ranch right. But if you're trying to get $6 or $7 million for it, it's a very small amount of money to spend to get your price. You know, it's, you know, let's face it, if you've got a beautiful ranch and you've got a beautiful creek and you've got, you know, wonderful scenery, but the roads are so bad that it chips your teeth driving around trying to see them, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose, and the people are upset or angry by the time you get there. So, you know, we'll try to get them to go in and do that work. In the event that we've got, you know, a lot of times we work with people that have, you know, families members that have passed away. They may have a beautiful $4 or $5 million asset, but they just may not have any cash to do that type of stuff. Well, at that point, we'll come in, we'll float them, you know, we'll pay for that, we'll do the cleanup and everything, and then we'll just take that back out at closing. So I think that says a lot about us. If we're confident enough that we can spend the money on it because we know we can sell it, I think that shows a lot, you know, that we're confident in our ability and, you know, to not only get it sold, but get it sold at the price that we think it's worth.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Well, the next ranch that we're going to look at is called the LI Ranch, and we've been joking around that this is the one for me because those are my initials. So perhaps you can just give me the keys after the show, no problem. So let's watch the LI Ranch here.
You got it. This is a spectacular property that sits just maybe 5 minutes from the airport in Fredericksburg, Texas. Incredible home. It's a very, very improved piece of property. It's got Spring Creek that runs through it, which is beautiful live water. It's also got several stock tanks. And this is, for Texas, this is about as good a piece of dirt as you're going to find as far as grazing. There's about 100 acres of klein grass and a couple hundred acres of coastal on the property. The total ranch is 400 acres. It's got several barns, real nice arena, and the current owner is a very successful cutter.
Yeah, those are some nice looking horses.
One of the things you might notice watching this is because our climate's so good, a lot of our barns are open air barns. You know, we don't like to confine anything more than we have to.
Makes sense.
This property's got beautiful post oak and live oak trees throughout it. You're going to get to see a little example of training some young cutting horses here.
All right.
This is one of the lakes on the property we talked about, and that's Spring Creek. This is year-round water, as we talked about earlier. That's very important with your property value. Water, 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 water.
All right, well, that was a good example of some great horse property that is for sale.
With your initials already on the gate?
With my initials on the gate. I mean, it must be fate. You can't fight fate, you know. Well, what are some of the other activities that people are doing with horses around there? Is it, I mean, you name it, you can find it in Texas?
You really can, you know. I mean, everything from polo to, you know, we got one of the larger polo centers right there in San Antonio, and I mean, it's pretty much a horse lover's paradise. I mean, you know, like we talked about the climate, the weather, you know, We also have, you know, some access to some of the best vets and the best hoof guys and horseshoers.
That's a great point.
You know, so it's you know, it's a neat spot. Even the horse racing's gotten real big with the Retama Park being built in San Antonio, and you know, so it's we are a horse state. You know, and it's a lot of the small towns. It's not unusual to go have barbecue and see 3 or 4 guys or girls on horses riding down Main Street. You know, so
there we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
And how about the overall economy in Texas?
Well, you know, we talked a little bit about this earlier, but, you know, we are very optimistic with Texas and the way it's going right now. You know, I mean, over 3/4 of all the jobs that were produced in the United States in the last 2 years were in Texas.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with industry moving here. You know, the state's a little bit more tax friendly. You know, we're a little bit more business friendly than some of the other states. And, you know, I like to think we still got a little bit of the Old West in us. You know, it's, you know, the mystique is there, but also for the most part, if you do something wrong, you're responsible for your own actions in Texas, where that is not so much the case in other places. So, you know, that's one of the things I think that's also helped our state. But, you know, just overall, you know, our sales have dropped significantly over the past 3 years, but our sales were phenomenal in 04, 05, and 06. You know, we did over $500 million a year in sales with basically 3 guys running around in trucks. You know, so it was really easy then. Well, it got a little bit tougher the last couple of years, but
Sure.
but we're still doing well north of 200 million. So it's you know, we're real happy with what we are. Their inventory is good. If we've had any problem at all, it's that our sellers don't have to sell, so their prices aren't coming down, and the buyers are waiting for deals. And so that's been kind of the tough thing, you know. In the 80s and 90s, you know, I've been in this business a long time, and you know, I've seen it go from the highs to the lows. And I guess the big thing was, you know, the people that bought ranches in the late 90s and early 2000s were so significantly qualified that even today, when the place is for sale, it's not a financial decision. You know, so they can hold on to it and wait for their price. You know, the other thing that's we've been lucky with in Texas and other parts of the country has this as well, but with the interest rates where they are, you know, right now you can borrow money at less than 4% to buy a ranch with 25% down. So, you know, that's really helped a bunch, you know, to keep the activity going. Now, on the flip side of that, the banks have gotten a lot tougher to deal with. The appraisers have gotten a lot tougher to deal with. You know, we sell more land in Texas than anybody, so I got a pretty good idea what that property is worth. And so every now and then we get in fights with the appraisers because they don't see eye to eye with us.
Yeah.
But we're always able to pull out our pocket comps and what we've sold and usually overcome that situation. And that helps a bunch when you work with a large firm like us, because we do have the backup and the intel that a lot of the other smaller companies don't have. So when you have an appraisal or a finance issue, we can pull, you know, a rabbit out of the hat and try to get it fixed.
Well, that sounds like there's more than just one reason to choose Texas Landman when you decide that a big ranch is in your future. We've got one more to show everybody at home, or I think it's a combination of 2, right?
Right.
Running Bay and College Station.
Exactly.
Okay, let's watch that.
The first one you're looking at is Running Bay Ranch. It's 55 acres in the Texas Hill Country, and this is truly a horse's paradise. It's got 2 homes on it, really, really nice barns, and really, really nice horse facilities.
Wow.
And it's actually owned by a past world champion barrel raiser. It's a really, really pretty house. It sits up high on the hill. The other house is down in the valley. Swimming pools are big in Texas, as you can tell.
Fine by me.
Really nice finish out in this house with the exposed beams and granite countertops. This is the College Station Ranch. This is 4,000 acres located in College Station, home of the Fighting Texas Aggies. And this is a spectacular place. It's got its own private 109-acre lake.
Oh my God.
In addition, it's got 3 miles of the Navasota River that pass through the property. This is prime cattle grazing country and really good horse country. There's over 40 acres of the ground are irrigated with pop-up sprinklers around the house.
Whoa. What a property.
It's a special, special property. It's complete with its own peninsula and boathouse for 3 boats with fuel. So it's got fuel tanks where they deliver fuel and you can actually fill your boat up on the water.
Jeez, well, all right. Well, I can't decide, I guess, when it comes down to it, which one I liked best. But, well, what's in store for Texas in the future, and what can people expect?
Well, we think that, in whatever happens in this current political stream we're in, we feel real positive once again about Texas. I mean, the writing's on the wall, the number of people moving in, the industry, everything is very positive. In addition, we're having some spectacular mineral oil and gas play with the Eagle Ford Shale, which is going on. Goes through most parts of South Texas up into East Texas. And the activity down there has been phenomenal. They say that's a 15 to 20 year play, and they say there's multiple other sands underneath the Eagle Ford. So, that's very positive for Texas. This is the first thing we've seen in a long time, similar to what North Dakota is experiencing,
right,
in Canada, with the availability to be able to drill their way out of an economic downturn. And that's what's happening in Texas, and I wish we could do it in other parts of the country.
You bet. Well, what advice do you have for somebody who may want to sell a ranch or purchase one?
Well, if it's in Texas, call us. Mm-hmm. If it's not, find a broker, find somebody that you can meet with that really understands and knows the market. That's the most important thing. Whether you're trying to sell a horse or a car or whatever, a truck, if you don't know the market and you don't know the product, you can't do your job. And so, the big thing is, if you're in Texas, call us. We'll come meet with you. If you're buying, it's great to meet with clients before we even get them in the car.
Okay.
I'll go to their office, I'll go to their house, I'll meet them on the golf course, wherever they want to meet. But if I can have 30 minutes with them to bring my dog and pony show and to bring our stuff, in today's technology with the iPads and the computers,
mm-hmm,
we can put pretty good presentations together, to get an idea of what they want and to make sure that what the money and the budget that they have realistically fits what they're going to buy. Same thing for the seller. There's a lot of people out there that want to sell, but they think their property is worth X amount of money. Well, it really isn't.
Yeah.
So we have the availability to bring the backup and paint the real picture, because everybody in today's business, in today's times, is busy. And if you can't have the backup, and it's tough to get it done.
All right. Well, Trey, thanks for being a part of our show today. We hope everybody at home has learned a lot and seen a lot of great properties from Texas Landman. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time.